Catapulting Commissions family. What's up, team? Welcome back to this week's episode of Catapulting Commissions podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Garcia. First of all, if you're on the video, check out the new studio. Hopefully you like it. It's specifically for you guys. Second, our guest today is killer. I'm so excited to share with you. We are going to talk about the one thing that is having top sales professionals go from always outbounding to having people come looking for you. You're not going to want to miss today's episode. Let me tell you about Jeremy Weber. Jeremy is a founding member and the director of brand strategy services at Brand Builders Group. Over his 17-plus year career, he has founded, sold, and helped grow multiple companies. He has worked with as a personal brand strategist that has supported New York Times bestselling authors, TED speakers, celebrity influencers, a Shark Tank inventor, and seven-figure entrepreneurs across many industries. As a founding member and senior leader within Brand Builders Group, he has supported and launched. He has supported the launch and growth of one of the fastest growing personal brand strategy firms in the world. His work has spanned leading a team of 25 plus strategists, overseeing the platform, supporting over 500 personal brands, and managing the company's global partner network. As a former thought leader in the technology industry, he has spoken in front of audiences of over 15,000 people, and he sat on the advisory board of a global software company with an annual revenue of over $1 billion. Jeremy, welcome to Catapulting Commissions. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, man, I am great, brother. It's so good to be with you. I know we do life together. We do business together. So it's just good to get this time with you, my man.
Jeremy, I'm glad to have you here. And let's jump into this. So here's the deal. The Catapulting Commissions family has been trained over years of we're selling this, we're selling a product, we're selling a service. Over the past couple years, there has been this trend of I am incredible, I am influential, I am a personal brand myself, and people have been leveraging that to let's just not use no pun intended here, catapult commissions, but really generate sales. So let's really start at that root. Walk me through what exactly is a personal brand, and how does someone build that personal brand?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's so many misconceptions out there. I think most people think, hey, a personal brand is the typical personal brand professions, speaker, author, influencer, right? Those types of things where the business and what they sell is heavily dependent on the individual, right? Like if you take this person out of the equation, the business doesn't exist, right? That's what most people think of when they think of personal brands. Let's call that's like personal branding V1 or 1.0, right? Like we're in this Web 2, Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 world now. So we'll use that same analogy, right? So personal branding 1.0 is like just your speaker, author, influencer, whatever. So personal branding 2.0, right, is really this idea to understand that, hey, there's a marketing and sales tactic and strategy here, right, that every business needs to be aware of. And it's once I get my business positioning tight, how do I strategically elevate the personal profiles or personal brands of key people in the business? So naturally, that's going to be like the leadership team, but your sales reps and sales professionals are very client facing, and obviously you need to use this as well, right? So that's kind of this new evolution is, yes, you can use this for typical personal brand businesses. Yes, you can use this as a solopreneur, a coach, a trainer, like whatever. But if any of your audience is small, medium-sized businesses, big businesses, reps and big businesses, that's the X factor. That's the future. And we all know that, consumers and consumer trends are saying they want to know the individuals behind the business. That's accelerating the know, like, and trust. That's accelerating the sales cycle. But how you do that as a business, as an individual, to stay true to the business, but also align the uniqueness of people in your business as like seamless extensions of the business, where they're basically saying, well, yeah, I'm trying to still sell what we're all selling. I'm not trying to spin up a side hustle, because that's not good, right? You get a bunch of employers, upset. But it's kind of like, how do I kind of be myself and be unique and build my brand around who I am, but that also be aligned with kind of the core mission and objectives and financial drivers for the business? That's the sweet spot. And the real strategy to do that is at the heart of kind of like some of the really exciting growth opportunities that are out there, I think, for the personal branding kind of industry in general, but frankly, for businesses across every sector, because that's truly how you're going to differentiate from competition and really drive growth if you embrace that.
You know, when you say if you embrace that and you're differentiating yourself, when you hear this concept of personal brand and Catapulting Commissions family, you've heard me say this before. I mean, this concept is relatively new to me. 3.5 years ago is when I first learned the concept of a personal brand. And I hate the phrase in sales. People like from people people buy from people they like, know, and trust. Right? I literally hate that because it gives this false sense of security. That's all you need to be successful in sales, which is false. But it's that mantra of saying, okay, well, if I can build this personal brand, I see the person who's there. It's almost the same reason that some of these large companies are now looking for like the micro influencer, because it's a personal brand that can represent them. Here's my counter argument to that, Jeremy. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And it's a fear that I have or had. Let me be clear.
Yeah.
Who am I to build this personal brand? Like, what makes me special or unique, or what makes me the person to use my personal brand to create, for lack of better words, authority, that I'm an expert in my space or in my field? Like, do I have to have all these accolades? Because there's some personal brands out there that are amazing because they've flown off the moon or whatever phenomenal thing they have. But for like an everyday person, I'm like, hey, I was just successful in business. Like, what do you have to say to that person that says the personal brand doesn't work for me?
Yeah. I mean, it's a very good question. So the way I look at it is, it's another kind of misconception around what a personal brand is. Like, if your personal brand is just the size of your online following, which is kind of like seems a little bit of maybe the thinking or the argument there is like, hey, these people have big personal brands, meaning they have tons of followers and tons of online influence. What makes me somebody that, could do that or should do that, right? And the way we look at it is that, your personal brand is just, it's you, right? Like, you are you, right? And most people, they've got a very influential personal brand. It's just influential in an offline setting, right? Like, people, you have influence over people. They know you're an expert at it because you've been to the networking events, you've serviced them through a product or service or whatever. So you have a personal brand. And so that's what you have to ground yourself in, is like, your personal brand is not the number of followers you have. The personal brand is not how many subscribers on YouTube or whatever. Those are lagging metrics. And we have, what's most important for any brand, any business, is that you're actually good at what you do. You bring value to people. You can solve real problems for them, whatever it is. You don't do that through spending all day on social media. Some people that are like, hey, I want to be an influencer. Well, maybe that's what they're great at. And they spend tons of time, money, effort understanding best practices to be an influencer. But most of your audience and people that we work with, frankly, they're great at something. Could be financial services, could be a lawyer, could be sales, could be whatever, right? You pick a profession. And what we're saying is, to grow that business, let's just be a little more intentional about building an online reputation that matches the status of your offline reputation, because you've already got that. You've got a solid foundation. So that, and I've frankly had to work through some of this myself, is like, so don't ever be insecure, like, I can't do that. It's like, you're bringing to market, something that is super valuable, and it's already been proven to be valuable because you're servicing clients and you're good at what you do and you've practiced for years to be great at something. All we're saying now is like, look, I can only reach and serve so many people operating in my offline mode of operation, right? Going to networking events, asking for referrals, like doing what you're doing. When you want to drive more awareness of the value you bring to the world or your client base, that's when you get more intentional about building the online. And to be totally honest with you, you're not trying to be the next influencer or the next kind of person with millions of followers. That may come downstream. The reason you're being more intentional about building your online presence, right, your online personal brand, is to drive more traffic and growth, of whatever you're selling on the shelf, right? So, I think it's like, what is a personal brand? But also, like, am I worthy of that? And it's like, who cares about that? That's not the business you're building. You can have huge impact and have 1,000 followers or, 5,000 followers. Like, it doesn't matter, right? It's all about the value you bring to the world. And that's what I would say is like, focus on that first. Don't focus on the metrics. Like, because if you're not good at what you do and you don't actually bring real value to people, like everything else is going to break down and you're going to have a lot bigger problems downstream, with the business you're building, frankly.
Yeah, it's almost like the statement that we talk about in sales leadership: off self and on purpose. And the metrics you mentioned, I call them the vanity metrics. It's really self-serving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it makes you feel good when you get thousands of likes or thousands of downloads or whatever the number may be. But it's not really on purpose. And it never became clearer to me until recently. I released a video on YouTube talking about the 7 keys to a good discovery call. Did not go viral by any means. Maybe has a couple hundred views. But it gathered one view from a client of mine who didn't know that I do that, who asked if I can help create that system for his employees. And it turned into a significant upcharge and someone who I wasn't even selling my services. So to me, I'm like, yeah, that's the personal branding works. Like, it really does. If you can get off self and on purpose, and I'm not, no secret, Catapulting Commissions family. I have worked with the Brand Builders Group since the start of Catapulting Commissions, so I've learned a lot and have definitely taken a lot of the trainings and teaching from the team and Jeremy specifically. But Jeremy, I want to pick your brain on this subject a little bit more before we jump onto the next topic.
Yeah.
When someone comes and builds that personal brand, right? What is the number one reason, or few reasons if they are, that they fail early? Like, personal brands, I see a lot of people online try to create personal brands and then they fail. Or in my opinion, they fail. Maybe they haven't. But why do personal brands fail when they're starting up? Can you talk to that a little bit? Because I know there's people listening and say, hey, I want to do it, or I've tried it before, it failed. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things at the end of the day, but what I would say is the most common theme that keeps personal brands, again, we'll kind of label it that, from getting off the ground is they aren't clear on their positioning in the market. There is so much noise out there, right? If you try to get online, what we're saying is like, how do I get online? How do I drive more awareness and influence and trust in an online setting to drive more traffic back to whatever you're selling? Kind of like conceptually is what we're talking about, right? So when you get online and you're pushing out content, you're doing all these things, right? It's noisy. We all know that there's so much crap out there. And if you aren't basically doing the deep dive work up front to say, how do I uniquely position myself in the market as an individual, as a personal brand? You're going to then get gobbled up in all the generalities of content that gets pushed out, and there's nothing unique about your content and nothing unique about you. You're just like the other sales professional or whatever, right? And then also, you're probably not clear on what am I trying to drive back to? Like, the other thing is they're not focused and clear on what am I trying to sell, right? So I would say they're not uniquely positioned. They don't know how to uniquely position them in the market. And then they don't create alignment between what they're trying to sell and all these downstream sales and marketing activities that are used to build your online presence and funnel traffic back to that offering. So we like to say diluted focus equals diluted results. And if you're diluted on what your brand stands for, kind of your positioning in the market that is truly unique to you, as well as what the world am I trying to sell and how do I make sure the content marketing I'm putting out, the high level messaging, right? All these downstream things are hyper aligned with it. You never get enough traction to, one, break through the noise, yet get sales and build momentum that then lets you fund the next thing and the next thing. And so you never take flight per se. You kind of just spin out and you get lost in this, frankly, this ecosystem of all these people that are just putting out a lot of random stuff that all sounds the same. And it's kind of like, I've heard this 50 other places. Like, I'm not going to pay attention to that. And you're scrolling and it's on to the next thing. Right. So I think, and frankly, people are kind of lazy. They aren't willing to do the deep work, on the front end that lays a solid foundation to kind of be successful downstream. And so what that usually results in is a lot of wasted time, money, effort. And then people come to us and, like whether you work with us or not, is not the point here. But we see so many people come to us and they're like, man, I've spent tons of money doing this and XYZ. You may have, can even speak to that. So Anthony, but it's like, well, yeah, because you, one, didn't do the right things in the right order, but we also didn't do some work on you to make you stand out at scale from the millions of other people that are out there doing similar stuff, right? So we have to work harder now, be more tactical now.
Yeah, I hear you say that, and it reminds me of the early days of building my personal brand. I went to my personal branding experience like, man, I'm going to get a logo, I'm going to get a title, and this is going to look amazing on social media. And I left my first branding experience like mind blown, totally thinking of things that I had never thought of. But the best analogy I can make on that is building that personal brand was more like you have to do all the fun, like the non-fun stuff that people don't see. Like my daughter's a Taekwondo martial artist. I've shared that she's a fighter. It's cool when she's on the mat and head kicks and all that fun stuff, but no one sees her at 5 a.m. when she goes to work out with dad. No one sees her late at night when she stays and kicks the bag 100 times. Like people don't see that stuff. And in that same concept of building that personal brand, you have to kind of get that foundation right and do the work that's not, let's just say it's not fun, but it helps align. And so to hear you say that's why brands fail, it makes total sense to me. I just see people want to do the fun stuff without really doing the foundational work.
Yeah. And I look at it as like surface level, right? Like, because if we look at kind of like a big aspect of personal branding and building an online platform, it's content marketing, right? That reaches the right people, grabs their attention, like builds trust, you funnel them back, all the things, right? You talk to your audience about all the time. But it's kind of like if you just do surface level preparatory work, you can probably expect surface level content that's not going to grab people's attention. If you want to do some deep work, right, we're probably going to uncover some things. It may be like a little bit of a therapy session. You can probably remember back to some of the early days, but it's like some deep stuff. But what's cool is that what comes out the other end is authentic. It's unique, right? It's a great blend of you as an individual and what you love to talk about and what you're passionate, like what we would call what you were designed, like who you were designed to be, but also like blending that with what the world needs you to be. Like you're solving real problems people would pay for. And we all know that there's people that make tons of money and they're miserable. They hate their job. And there's other people that, they think they love life, but they're broke and then they have to get a job they don't like. At the end of the day, what we say is your true uniqueness and what we want to build your brand around is the intersection of those two things, right? And we have a process to help you kind of like navigate that and figure it out. But long story short, you got to put the work in on the front end to come to market with something that's truly unique, but also aligned with what your business and what you're trying to sell. That's where the magic happens. That's where you break through the noise in a way that, is productive on both fronts. It's me, it's authentic to me, it's giving you life as an individual. And hey, it's driving growth of what my boss wants me to sell, or it's also just driving growth of the business that I'm the founder of, or whatever, right? So that's a pretty special moment to see the light bulb come on for clients, where it's like, oh, this is not put my personal brand hat on, then put my business hat on. It's this. It's like, no, the magic is where those two things intersect, and intentionally building an online reputation around that. That's where it gets pretty cool.
Yeah, cool is an understatement. I think once you see your personal brand truly become an asset, I mean, it's fun. And I say this as someone who's built a personal brand. And when your personal brand's an asset, it's everything. It becomes how you generate income. It becomes how you generate relationships. And so the foundational work wasn't fun. I do remember that, but I'm so glad I did it first.
Yeah, it's work, right? It's work, right? But I think you make a great point there is, this influence you're building, right? This reputation, this online reputation you're building, that's transferable, right? Like if you're in a position of being a rep in a bigger company, right? And even from the employer's perspective, right? The sweet balance is, how do I give people outlets to do what they want to do and build influence and authority and a reputation that they can take with them wherever. The company doesn't own it, right? Like they've earned that to take it and leverage it to get a better job maybe or whatever. How do I let them do that, or how do I do that as an employee while at the same time also driving growth of who's paying my bills, right? Like that's the sweet spot and where everybody's happy. And I think that, more often than not, there's a little bit of an internal dilemma with some of those things. But I think the future is when it's like, no, this is all part of a cohesive strategy to grow a business. And, if somebody chooses to leave, that's fine. But they helped us significantly drive growth of our business while they were here, and that's great. They can take their online reputation and following with them and use that leverage to grow another company or start their own business or whatever, right?
I love that. Truth, like literally speaking to me there. The audience knows I built Catapulting Commissions while I was still employed in corporate America. When I made that transition and left and completely took Catapulting Commissions on its own, the one byproduct, and I kid you not, Jeremy, I don't think I've shared this. I know I haven't shared it with you, that I didn't anticipate. So I had left corporate America and I was like, I'm running Catapulting Commissions full time. I haven't looked back. It's been a blast. Man, I don't even have a resume out. I have received numerous six-figure job offers from competitors, from people that were in the industry I was in, from startups that are trying to break the industry. And it's not people in the industry referring me. It's like, oh, I looked up your LinkedIn profile, or so-and-so said that I should look you up. I looked you up online. I'd love to speak to you. For like the first month of me leaving, when I left corporate America and there was some headwinds because I'd been within corporate America for almost 20 years, it was like, oh my goodness, another byproduct of building a personal brand. I don't even need a resume. Let's just build a strong personal brand, because when I left, I got way more traction than I ever would have just emailing out my resume and say, hey, I'm looking for work. So your personal brand truly is an asset for you.
Yeah, I mean, and if done right, you retain that. Oh, yeah. There's a broader discussion about who really owns the followers, and like we won't get into that today, but it's kind of like, at the core of it is, you're building an asset that is leverage. That's leverage, right? And more employers, frankly, are using that and placing more emphasis on it. If they know, I mean, if we just think about it, if I'm hiring sales reps, let's just say, and it's like, man, like I can choose between A and B, and A, they both are killer, right? At like converting, have a great track record, right? Like in complex sales or like whatever it is, right? But so-and-so brings a platform with them of people that know of them. I'm going to resist saying no, like, and trust, but they know of them and think of them as experts in the healthcare industry or the financial, like whatever industry, right, that you're in. And they can immediately activate their platform to drive traffic to this new business. What's cool is that the salesperson naturally understands how to convert and sell and build relationships, all the things that are underneath the hood of that. But the individual now has a marketing element to what they bring to the table. Marketing is not just compartmentalized in the marketing department of the company. That will still exist. It's great. But if you have this online reputation, if you've been intentional about building your online personal brand, you now can market and drive inbound traffic just like corporate marketing can. So you bring extra value prop to the table, which this is another thing we got to figure out is, how do companies account for that? How do they properly compensate for that? How do they reward you for everything you're bringing to the table, which is kind of a fun conversation. But I think you saw it firsthand. Like it's so not only do it now to, help your current company grow and feel like you're giving yourself an outlet to do what you feel called to do like that. But then this is that long-term kind of lasting asset that will help you with your career and, wherever you end up going
Absolutely.
next.
Again, Catapulting Commissions family, the personal brand is the number one asset that I built with Catapulting Commissions. It's the number one asset I recommend to anybody who comes in and works with me is building your personal brand, leveraging your personal brand, because it truly can catapult your commissions, no pun intended. Speaking of Catapulting Commissions and building your personal brand, earlier, Jeremy, you'd mentioned the content marketing. So when I tell people that, everyone asks you, what do you do for a living? And I run a consulting firm. Like, at the end of the day, I built a personal brand that I monetize. It's kind of how I've had that conversation. And everyone's like, oh, you're a YouTuber. Well, no, I'm not a YouTuber. But the reason that I share that is it brings the conversation up of content marketing, content strategy, content creation. And I have done several guest lectures over the past couple of months at numerous universities to their sales and marketing or entrepreneur classes, which is a combination of the three. And the number one question that's always asked is how do we create content that stands out? How do I create truly unique content? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, great question. There's no shortage of content out there. We know it's like content overload. So I think this naturally kind of builds on what we talked about before, right? Like once we figure out how to uniquely position you in the market, right? Then we say, what content do we need to put out that's going to grab the attention, right, of your ideal clients or strategic referral partners or whoever, and then use that to drive awareness, trust, and nurture them back in, right? That's kind of the high level concept here. So the critical first thing, and this is all alignment, don't put out scattered stuff that has nothing to do with what you're doing, right? It's all like these are going to be micro content pieces naturally. You're probably going to have a little bit longer form that maybe goes to YouTube, and then you're chopping things like, the standard repurposing stuff. But it's like, what do I talk about? Like, what do I talk about that's unique? I think that's kind of at the heart of your question here. And alignment is key. And when I say alignment is key, it's that there's intent behind the micro pieces you're putting behind. So I'll answer your question by explaining our positioning in the market and our content marketing strategy, because I think that'll help it make a little more sense for people. So Brand Builders Group, we're a personal brand strategy firm. We help you build an influential personal brand. That is our promise. If you don't know what your promise is, and it's very clear and it's something your target audience wants, you need to figure that out first. That's part of your positioning in the market. So my promise to the people we serve is we're going to help you build an influential personal brand. Then we say, how do you do that? This information naturally is part of how you would pitch something or how you would handle a conversation. Like, what do you do? Well, we're a personal brand strategy firm. Oh, cool. That's neat. Well, who do you work with? Well, we work with these types. Well, how do you do that work? So you see that this information can be used in a lot of different settings. But when we think about content marketing, first it's what's your promise, what's your high level promise you're making to the market, and then it's how do you deliver on that promise. So for us, we say, look, there's a 4-phase process for how you build and monetize your personal brand, right? First, we have to figure out how to uniquely brand and position you in the market. Second, we have to know how to market you and drive inbound. Third, we have to know how to do outbound sales. Fourth, we have to know how to scale all of this up. So those end up being steps of the journey. They also end up being content categories. Okay. So you think of how do I logically organize all this great content I'm putting out? It needs to be the foundation for how you do what you do. How do you deliver on your promise? What is your methodology? What is your process? If you don't have that figured out, that's also a fundamental thing to how you deliver on your products and services to clients. But once you get that, so let's say you get these high level buckets, right? Branding and positioning, marketing, selling, scaling. We then dive deeper into saying, within all of these phases of a journey or how you build and monetize a personal brand, what are all the questions my ideal client has about that step of the process? So Anthony, you may say like, man, I'm wanting to build my brand. Like, oh, you tell me you can help me build an influential personal brand. Well, I'm in. Here's one big question I have. How do I get more engagement with my content on TikTok? Like that would be one micro question within that marketing pillar. Or somebody may say like, hey, man, I want to be a thought leader. right? But like, how do I uniquely position my thought leadership in the market, right? Like there's so much out there. We would say, well, that's actually part of phase one, branding and positioning and building out your captivating content. So you think about what are all these questions, very specific questions that your clients have, like your ideal client has, within the context of all these, kind of aspects or kind of steps that are part of how you do what you do. And then it's pretty simple from there on. You're going to answer each of those questions one at a time, and then distribute that out through whatever channels you kind of distribute out through. But you can see that you're going to deliver value. So this is truly unique value. It's very tactical, specific stuff. These are deep, meaningful questions, right, that deliver value. But it's all aligned with and funnels back into like, oh, wow, this is part of a bigger ecosystem that's part of a process that delivers results, right? You can see it all builds on one another. So there's that balancing act. We like to say, teach everything you know for free, but in all random order in bite-sized pieces. Okay, so like you have your curriculum, you have your methodology for how to catapult commissions, right? You're going to use that and you're going to teach every little micro piece of that, but it's going to be in little bite-sized pieces in all random order. And beyond that, we then get into more tactics of like, how do you script out your 5, 10, 15-minute video for YouTube, right? Like, how do you hold engagement for that long? And there's different tactics for all these different things. How do you cut out the right subsets to actually get people to engage through Reels on Instagram or like whatever? But all that stuff is kind of commoditized, to be honest with you a little bit. There's tons of people that are great at it. Like, what are the latest strategies to, like repurpose content? But if you put crap in the front end of that system, you're going to have crap coming out the back end. So it's like uniquely position yourself, develop a killer methodology or process that delivers amazing results for people, then identify these little micro questions or topics within the different subsets of how you do what you do. And then those are going to drive your content marketing strategy. And the cool thing, what is so awesome, is that some of those are going to be solos, right? You're going to be like, I am equipped to answer this question myself. Some of those are going to be like, man, I would love to get another thought leader on and we're going to do a show or an interview and like, we'll tackle this question together, right? But so don't think they all have to be solos, but that's the heart of it. Real value, real questions your clients have that actually feed and funnel back into a nicely well-oiled machine and methodology that's actually part of what you're trying to sell them, but you're not leading with what you're selling them.
I love how you position that, how we're really going to answer the questions that my prospect is wondering, looking for, Googling for. And we are not going online selling our product or services, which is when people think of content marketing, like the new person in content marketing is like, oh, I'm going to go Facebook Live and I'm going to say, hey guys, I have this widget. We're on sale right now. Come down here, blah, 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 click link. And it's when I see people go online to sell right away, and then I see them disappear a week or two later, I'm like, okay, it didn't work. But then they come back again a couple weeks later and they try to sell something again. I'm like, it didn't work. And hearing you break down that you're using really content as a form of education. And you said something that I struggled with in the beginning. I admittedly struggled in the beginning saying, I'm going to teach you everything I know for free. It's like, no, man, this is what I want people to pay me for. Like, I'm really good at what I do. No, like I'm confident in my ability. Now you want me to give it away for free? But in doing so, it has made my business grow. And I think about my relationship with Brand Builders Group. You guys give all the goods away for free. I had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we say
I had to come in through the program to get good at building a personal brand. I couldn't just listen to it. Like I was like, I need help because I have way more questions than I can answer on a YouTube video.
Yeah. I mean, and I think the other thing we say is like, save the best for first. Like it's so and that's what you got to realize is on the surface, you're totally right, Anthony. It's like, oh, I'm going to tell them everything I know for free, but you're not creating a 2-day, pre-recorded workshop where you teach them logically everything you know in the right order in the sequence with all the exercises. No, don't give that away for free, right? People with the attention spans and all the volume of crap out there today, nobody is going to take the time to reverse engineer and piece together these micro pieces of insights into a well-oiled, well thought out methodology to be a better salesperson, right? They're just, it's not going to happen. So yeah, no need to worry about that. But at the end of the day, the other reason I like this is it's a service based, it's a value based mindset. It's like, look, I'm gonna serve you. I'm gonna give you tons of great content like this. What we're sharing here, like this is part of how we help people build out content marketing strategies. People pay a lot of money, like we go deeper with them to develop out stuff, but people pay a lot of money for this, but like we don't care, like take it, like go do good with it. Hopefully it helps, right? Like, so I think you just have to trust that you're gonna, if you lead with value and it's consistent, authentic, right? You do all the things right so you don't just get caught up in the noise of stuff out there, it will lead to clients, right? Like, and the numbers, the finances will take care of themselves, right? You just have to kind of like trust in that. And you're an example of it. We're an example of it. There's so many people that are. So yeah, don't get hung up.
Here's the thing too. You guys, you guys are the best at what you do. And I say this, Catapulting family, if you just Google Brand Builders Group, and I'm not going to ask Jeremy to name drop all their clients, but there's 2 podcasts that pop up if you Google Brand Builders Group, one with Ed Milet and one with Lewis Howes. And you look at it and you're hearing the conversations these guys are having. And I'm like, I mean, these are 2 of the biggest personal brands in the world. And you're hearing the same strategies that we just discussed on this casual conversation, you and I, at scale. So there's definitely something there. That personal branding it's a science. It's a skill. And Jeremy, your team, you guys have really made it easy to learn, easy to digest. You just have to do the work. So I appreciate that. Last question here on content and personal branding, and then we're going to come short on time here. But when someone's building their content or building their personal brand, everybody says they see the lights, the cameras, the videos, the high technology. And I've heard numerous people say, I want to build a personal brand, but don't know the technology or believe technology can prevent them from launching that personal brand. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a common question, a common kind of stumbling block, right? Hurdle. I think what we all know, and what I would encourage, all the listeners to just basically say, think about the content you consume, right? What do you like to consume most, right? And data shows that highly produced stuff, right, while it may look good, it doesn't, people want authentic, people want real, people want value. So I think at the end of the day, if you're delivering value, right, don't worry about the production quality, right? That will come with time. Just get it out there. If you don't get stuff out there, you never give yourself a chance. I don't care if it's one person, like you said, Anthony. You could have 100 followers, but if those 100 followers are super engaged and they're all your ideal client, that's better than having 1 million followers where 100,000 of them, right, like are kind of engaged. The other 900, right, like don't even care, right? Like, so it's not quantity, it's quality. And the only chance you have to kind of build any type of online following is to put yourself out there, to just lead with value. Know that it will all get better over time, right? But the more you sit around and pre-plan, and I'm guilty of this myself. Sometimes I had to work on it myself. It's like, just go, do it. Quit making excuses, right? And everything will get tight or better. You can up your production quality whenever you want to, and there may be certain content pieces as you get bigger that you want to have a little more polish with. But I think data shows that, at the end of the day, it's the more authentic, the more real. Like, it's not the talking head type stuff that, it's just not getting the most engagement. So it's actually going to work out in your favor. You don't need to buy a bunch of stuff, pay for a bunch of things. Like, just get on, deliver value, be authentic and real. and commit to doing it regularly and paying attention to what's working and improving. And there's what you'll notice over time is there's a balance of it's grounded in value. Like I said, if you don't, for some businesses, it's all entertainment, or some personal brands, it's all entertainment. We don't really work a ton with them, right? We're working with people that are thought leaders or experts in some profession, right? So when you work with them, and that's probably the majority of your audience here, right? It's grounded in knowledge. So if you aren't good at what you do, we got other problems, right? But all you guys are, everybody that's listening, you're good at what you do. As you do it more, you'll learn how to weave in a little bit of the entertainment factor, a little better storytelling, right? A little more pacing, right? You can up your game to figure out how to get people to stay engaged and kind of want to follow along and watch your video. But you never get there without just starting. And a lot of these production objections, right, and equipment, they're excuses, right, to keep you from getting going.
I love it, man. Quality content supersedes quality production with subpar content. Like, you have
Absolutely.
to have a message that's worth listening to. And I love what you said that. I mean, one of my first videos I saw from the Brand Builders Group, I think, was filmed on an iPhone. And I was like, oh man, this content's amazing. Like, it was literally on an iPhone. And I'm like, I'm listening to somebody and I was like, but it was so enticing to me, and it completely changed my life. So if that's you,
Catapulting, that was that first funnel. Yeah. That was that first funnel we put out. The first step to famous funnel.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, iPhone shot. Yeah, you're right, man. That was the old days, but it worked, right? I mean, like, you're an example of like you said, it doesn't matter, right? If you're delivering value that's real, that's the foundation of it.
100%. Well, Jeremy, Catapulting Commissions family is listening here. There's somebody listening here that wants to learn how to build a personal brand, or at bare minimum wants to learn more about the personal branding process. How do they learn more about that, and how do they get connected with you and learn more about this journey?
Yeah, man. So first off, if you're just curious to consume more free content, right? Like, we're pushing that out everywhere. You can connect with me on all the social platforms. It's the Jeremy Weber. So just find me, connect with me. I'm trying to practice what we preach, obviously, and push out value. So if you want to just get more free value, bite-sized pieces on whatever social platform you're on, connect with me. If you actually want to take it a little more seriously and say, like, hey, I want to learn more about this and see if this is something that, I may want to up my game here or take this more seriously, we'd love to just have a conversation with you. Like, this is it's a brand strategy call. We'll actually deliver tons of more value, right? And we offer those to everybody. And so basically, if it makes sense for us to work together on the back end of that, great. If not, no big deal. We're just trying to serve you. So if you do want to take advantage of that free call, you can go to freebrandcall.com/JW and freebrandcall.com/JW. And that's a free brand strategy call. Again, not selling you anything, just delivering value. And we'll try to help you as much as we can within an hour. Some people, it's like we can kind of give you some good guidance in just an hour. Others are like, yeah, let's keep working on this. So, but either way, that's not the intent. So
awesome. Well, Catapulting Commissions family, you will find those links in the show notes. The Jeremy Weber free brand strategy call /JW. Do me this favor, guys. Go get connected with Jeremy. At bare minimum, if you take no action from today's episode, that would be truly a disappointment. So take the action, get connected with the Jeremy Weber. You'll see those links right now. Jeremy, thank you again for joining the show today. We wish you nothing but abundant success in the future. I'm excited to be connected with the BBG family. I'm excited to see your brand continue to grow. And Catapulting Commissions family, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you next week.